Hey everybody, welcome to my top 30 favorite movies of all time. Yes, I've been wanting to do this video ever since I started, really. I wanted to make my favorite movies of all time list, and it's finally here. It's finally here. I might do this maybe every year or every other year or something like that, just because, my tastes change, and this order will probably not stay the same forever, I imagine. Um, so maybe I might do another one next year. We'll see. But for now, here's my top 30 favorite movies of all time. Yes. I was originally going to do top 20, but there happened to be 10 movies, 10 extra movies that I could have had maybe as honorable mentions, but I wanted to talk about them more. Yeah, I thought I decided on 30 top 30 favorite movies of all time. All right. So yeah, keep in mind, of course, this is my list. These are my honest opinions. There's going to be some oddballs on here. There's probably going to be some movies on here that you're going to be like, "Wow, that's in your top 30. That's one of your favorites." One movie in particular is actually considered to be one of the worst movies ever made. Yes. Um, but I happen to love it. So yeah, keep in mind these are my personal favorite movies of all time. Um, yeah, all right. So I guess let's go ahead and get started, shall we? I'm gonna try to do this all in one video. I'm gonna try not to talk too much about these movies. Maybe some I might talk more about than others, just because a lot of these I've already talked about before. So, anyways, all right, let's go ahead and get started with number 30. Number 30. All right, here we go. Number 30. This is the only musical that I have on this list. I'm not a big musical fan, but I do love this movie. This is my favorite musical. Favorite live action musical at least. Well, probably my favorite musical actually, because I don't have any others. But my number 30 is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, I love this movie. I just think it's a great film. I love the songs. I think all the songs off on here are really great. I'm actually not too crazy about the Oompa Loompa songs, to be honest. Just because they're all the same, you know. But all the other songs are great. My favorite is Pure Imagination, great song. Um, and what can I say that hasn't been said about Gene Wilder? He he's the best. Gene Wilder is the best Willy Wonka ever. I mean, so far we've only had two. I think we're about to have three now with Timothy Chalamet sometime pretty soon. But we've had Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp was okay, but Gene Wilder was the best without a doubt. But yeah, I love this movie. One of my all time favorites, of course. My number 30. Yeah, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, number 30. Okay, number 29. Number 29 is a movie that I reviewed for the channel. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's actually, I think, my second highest viewed video after my 12 Angry Men review. Um, my number 29 is Leon the Professional. Yeah. Now, to be fair, I've only seen this movie once. Like all the way through, I've only seen it once, and I've seen like reactions, on YouTube, some movie reactions to this. But no, I am very familiar with it though, even though I've only seen it once, and I loved it ever since. And ever since I reviewed it, it's just so good. I had to put it on here. It is lower because it is, I've only seen it once, but nonetheless, I love this movie. Gene Reno as Leon is great. I love also, of course, Gary Oldman as the villain, and Natalie Portman. This was her first film, and she was like 12 years old. So good in it. Yeah, great film. Liam the Professional, really good. That is number 29. All right, number 28. Now, number 28, in my opinion, is a very underrated film. Not enough people talk about this movie. Where I'm from, it is pretty popular, but like in the film buff world and whatnot, I don't hear a lot of film buffs talk about this movie, and it's a shame because this movie is a masterpiece. Number 28 is Sling Blade. Yes, Sling Blade. Billy Bob Thornton. Um, he wrote and directed this movie and also stars in this movie. It's so good. This movie is so good. If you haven't seen Sling Blade, do yourself a favor and watch it. It is amazing. Like I remember the very first time I watched it, I didn't really think I was going to like it to be honest, but I ended up loving it and yeah, I still love it. Yeah, it's a shame that no one talks about this movie anymore. Despite it did win actually it won two. It says it won two Academy Awards. I don't know what the other one was, but I know it did win Best Adapted Screenplay. Uh, and yeah, well deserved for sure. But Sling Blade is such a great film. If it's streaming anywhere, I don't know if it is, but if you happen to come across it, please watch it. It is amazing. Um, I have the director's cut. I actually never seen the theatrical cut to be honest, but the director's cut might be better. I don't know. I can't say which one's better, but just either one, I guess, just watch. But yeah, such an amazing film. Sling Blade, Billy Bob Thornton. Watch it. Yeah, it is my number 28. Okay, number 27, another movie I reviewed for the channel. That is There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood. This would be higher, but I've only seen this movie twice. But it's again like Sling Blade. It is a masterpiece, and you know, Daniel Day Lewis. Need I say more? As yeah, Daniel Day Lewis as Daniel Plainview, such a great performance. One of my favorite movie endings too, and of course I should also say Paul Dano was great in this movie as well. Such a great film. I wish it won Best Picture in 2007, but it lost to No Country for Old Men. But anyways, There Will Be Blood, great film. That is my number 27. Okay, number 26. Number 26, I also reviewed this, but not just this. I reviewed the whole, this is a part of a trilogy, and I reviewed the whole trilogy. Go check it out if you haven't already. Probably my favorite trilogy. I like the two other films too, but this one was my favorite out of them, and this one I think is a masterpiece. The sequels are probably masterpieces too, but I just wanted to include this one. My number 26 is Before Sunrise. Yes, Richard Linklater. This is the first installment into the um, Before trilogy. Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, so good. Their chemistry together is so good in the whole entire trilogy, not just this movie. But as Jesse and Celine. My honestly, probably my favorite movie couple of all time. I love them. Yeah, Before Sunrise, such a great film. One of the best like dialogue heavy, films. Great dialogue in this movie. Yeah, Before Sunrise. That is number 26. All right. All right, number 25. Um number 25 is Boyz N the Hood. Such a great 90s film. Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., Morris Chestnut, Lawrence Fishburne, all great in this film. Lawrence Fishburne is my favorite in this. But yeah, this is just such a great film. It's funny, it's sad, it's just a yeah, it's just a great film. I don't know what else to say about it other than that. One of the best films to come out of the 90s, Boyz N the Hood. That is number 25. All right, number 24. Number 24. Number 24 is my favorite 60s movie. It's the only 60s movie on here, I think. That is Easy Rider. I mean, if it is the only 60s movie, then it is my favorite, of course. Um, but yeah, Easy Rider. This film is great. This is like one of the best independent films, especially to come during this time in the '60s. Even today, it still holds up as like one of the greatest independent films ever made. But yeah, Dennis Hopper did a great job directing this film, and he's in it too. He stars in it along with Peter Fonda and of course Jack Nicholson. Even though Jack Nicholson has a smaller, uh, well, he's a supporting role in this film, but yeah, Easy Rider, such a great film. All three of those actors, great performances. It's a great road trip movie. I also kind of consider this to be underrated, even though it did get a lot of praise whenever it came out. But like today, I just don't hear a lot of film buffs talk about it. So, but yeah, I love Easy Rider, and it is number 24. Okay, now here we go. Number 23. Whoo boy, this one right here is definitely going to raise some eyebrows because this is the movie I was talking about that is considered to be one of the worst movies ever made. But I can't fucking help it. This, in my opinion, even though it's a bad movie, it's also a masterpiece, and it is proof that even bad movies can be masterpieces. Number 23 is, are you ready? It is The Room. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I fucking love The Room. I don't care what you say, whether you say it's the worst movie ever made, or if you're with me that you love it anyways, despite it being, a bad film. Is it a bad movie? Yes, but it's also a masterpiece. And this, like I said, this is proof that it is. Tommy Wiseau, what can I say about him? I mean, of course he's terrible in the film, but who gives a shit? He made this movie. He was trying to make a great film. Didn't necessarily work, but he did make a masterpiece after all. So, but yeah, I love The Room so much. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. Even though, again, it wasn't supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be a drama, and it ended up being a comedy. But it's one of the greatest comedies ever made. But yeah, I love The Room, and that is number 23. All right, and speaking of comedies, here's another one. Number 22. This is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, along with The Room. Um, Number 22 is my favorite Tim Burton film. That is, in his debut, actually. That is Pee Wee's Big Adventure. I know, kind of a weird choice. Also, I mean, it's not considered to be one of the worst movies ever made, but some people might be like, "Really? That's one of your favorites?" Yeah, and yeah, it's the only Tim Burton film I have in this on this list. But and don't get me wrong, I love Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, Big Fish. Those are great films too, and a bunch of others as well. I love Tim Burton, but this is my favorite Tim Burton film, and it it is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, Pee Wee, Paul Rubens as Pee Wee Herman, of course. He is fucking hilarious in this movie, and yeah, I mean it's a very silly movie, but it is hilarious. I love it so much. Pee Wee's Big Adventure. That is number 22, right? Yeah, number 22. All right, number 21. This one is a personal favorite. This is also might be a odd choice to have in my favorites of all time. It is my second favorite Kevin Smith film. We'll get to my first later, but number 21, number 21 is Chasing Amy. I love Chasing Amy. Ben Affleck, uh, Affleck, Ben Affleck, Jason Lee, and what's her name? Joey Lauren Adams, all great in this film. It's my favorite rom com. Uh, Yeah, I love it. I also love the scene with Jay and Silent Bob. Kevin Smith really nailed it in that scene. Um, it is kind of problematic nowadays. Like some people are starting to see that it didn't age very well and stuff like that. That's what they're saying about it, and like a lot of people don't like the ending and stuff. I don't care. I still think this is a great film. Like honestly, this is probably Kevin Smith's best film, but it isn't my favorite. We'll get to my favorite later. But if you see my Kevin Smith ranking, then you know what it is. But we'll get to it much later. But Chasing Amy, I love it. It is number 21. All right, just give me a minute. Okay. All right, number 20. All right, number 20. This is another movie that is also problematic nowadays. That is pretty controversial nowadays, mostly because of a certain actor that is in this movie. He is a very controversial actor now, so, but I don't give a shit. Again, I don't give a shit. I even like the actor. I don't like him as a person, but I like him as an actor, and he is amazing in this. Number 20 is American Beauty, and yes, of course, I'm talking about Kevin Spacey. I don't give a shit what you say about Kevin Spacey. Is he a bad person or whatever? I mean, I guess he is, yeah. But come on. I can't fucking help loving him as an actor. And this movie definitely proves it. He is so good in this movie as Lester Burnham. And all the other actors too are great. Annette Bening, Thor Birch, Chris Cooper. This movie's just great. This is just a really interesting film, and it just it's showing all these different people. They're all weird and stuff. These two different families, and it's just great. I love American Beauty. I haven't seen it in a good while, but I probably need to watch it again sometime soon. But I love American Beauty. It is number 20. Okay, number 19. Number 19. This one, a lot of people don't really talk about this one too much. Like, well, I do kind of think it's underrated, but I also think it's um underappreciated. Like, whatever people do talk about it, not a lot of people like this movie, and I kind of get it. It is a very unique film and stuff like that. But my number 19 is Natural Born Killers. Natural Born Killers, such a great film, just like Sling Blade. Also, I never seen the theatrical version. I've only seen the director's cut. But yeah, Oliver Stone. I mean, despite him fucking up Tarantino's script, and I do have some Tarantino on this list. We'll get to those later. But despite him fucking up Tarantino's script, he directed the hell out of this film. He did a great job with this film. And I am a Tarantino fan, but I still think he did a great job. And of course, actually, my second favorite couple after Jesse and Celine from the Before trilogy, my second favorite movie couple, Mickey and Mallory Knox, played by Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis, so good, so good in this movie. And also, I love Robert Downey Jr. as Wayne Gale. He's so good, and Tom Lee Jones, of course, as well. Um, I love Natural Born Killers. This is such a great film, such a really weird but unique and cool film. Um, yeah, Natural Born Killers, number 19. Okay, number 18. Number 18 is another movie that I reviewed for the channel, and this is my second favorite Stanley Kubrick film. And if you've seen my Stanley Kubrick ranking that I did not that long ago, then you know what I like better than this. Um, but yeah, my number 17, no 18. My number 18 is Full Metal Jacket. I love Full Metal Jacket. Arlie Ermy is amazing in this as Sergeant Hartman. Um, and I also love, of course, Private Pile, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and Joker, played by Matthew Modine. This is my favorite war film. And this movie, of course, has it's like basically two different films in one. You got the first half, which is like a training film, and then the second half is a war film. And I actually like the first half better, which I think most people do, but the second half is also very good. It's just a great film, altogether. I think it's a masterpiece. I love it. It's my second favorite Stanley Kubrick film. We'll get to my first in a little while, but yeah, um, Full Metal Jacket. That is number 18. Yeah. All right, number 17. Another movie I reviewed for the channel. Go check it out. That is my favorite coming of age film, and this might be kind of an oddball too, but I can't help it. I love this movie. I love this movie so much because it's very relatable to me. Number 17 is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Yeah, I know, kind of an odd choice, but yeah, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Logan Lerman, so good in this movie, and I love Emma Watson as well. The Harry Potter fan that I am, and yes, I do have a Harry Potter movie on this list. We'll get to it later, but and also Ezra Miller, which I know he's a controversial actor now, but he is very good in this film. I like his character a lot. Yeah, I love this movie. Again, it's my favorite coming of age film. Also forgot to mention Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is in this movie too, and he's very good as the teacher. Yeah, Perks of Being a Wallflower, such a great film. Again, the most relatable movie I've ever seen. Uh, I really relate to Logan Lerman's character. Yeah, Perks of Being a Wallflower. That is number 17. Yeah, number 17. All right, number 16. This one might. Okay, now this I don't know. This one might be kind of a coming of age film, but I don't really consider it as a coming of age film because it doesn't just focus on the child; it focuses on the whole family. Um, but this is. I love this movie. This is number. All right, number 16 is Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah. Um, this is like my favorite. I would say. Okay, no, second favorite non-family family movie, if that makes sense. Which means it's a movie about a family, but it's not a family movie. It's not a movie you should watch with your family, even though it is about a family. But if that makes any sense. Actually, I was going to say this is my favorite one of those, but actually, we got another one coming up in a minute. But second favorite, I love this movie. I love all the performances. All the actors as his family got Greg Kinnear, Steve Carell, Tony Collette, Paul Dano, Abigail Breslin, and Alan Arkin. All great in this film. They're so good. You even got two Breaking Bad actors and Bryan Cranston and Dean Norris. Yeah, Walter White and uh, Hank Schrader. I couldn't think of his name for a second. Asac Schrader. Um, but yeah, this movie is great. It's hilarious too. This movie is really funny. It does have its share of like dramatic moments, and it's pretty dark. I mean, Steve Carell plays a suicidal character in it. So yeah, it's dark, but it's also hilarious at the same time. Um, but yeah, I love this movie, Little Miss Sunshine. So good. Maybe my favorite road trip movie. It could be, yeah. I love it. Little Miss Sunshine. That is number 16. All right, number 15. Number 15. We're getting closer now. Number 15 is one of my favorite comedies. I would say this is probably my favorite movie of the last decade. That is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Hilarious film. My favorite Edgar Wright film. The only Edgar Wright film I have on this list. I do like some of his others. I like Baby Driver and Hot Fuzz, but um, but this one's my favorite. Michael Cera, of course. As Scott Pilgrim, and I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers. They're definitely one of my favorite movie couples too. And everyone else in this movie: Karen Culkin, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson. Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman, of course, as Gideon, one of my favorite movie villains of all time, probably. Um, yeah, I love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Hilarious film. I love the music in it too. It's just so good. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is number 15. Okay, number 14. Number 14 is the only animated film I have on this list. This is, of course, my favorite animated film and my favorite Pixar film. Spoilers for my upcoming Pixar ranking hopefully sometime this year they'll be coming up. But I'm still in the middle of making it. But number 14 is Monsters Inc. Yes. Uh, Little fact: this was the very first movie I've ever seen in theaters. I was 3 years old. Yeah. But yeah, I loved this movie ever since then. Ever since I was a kid. It's just, you know, I just love it. It's nostalgia, but I still love this movie. I love the voice acting, of course, from John Goodman and Billy Crystal and Steve Buscemi and everyone else too. And it's just such a great film. It's hilarious. It's got its dramatic moments too. Sully and Boo, they're great together, and of course Sully and Mike Wazowski. You know, such great friends. Yeah, probably one of my favorite friendships in any film. I love Monsters Inc. and it is number 14. Okay, number 13. Number 13 is my favorite movie out of my favorite movie franchise, and I was thinking about putting my entire movie franchise on here as one spot, but to tell you the truth, I don't love all the other movies as much as I love my favorite out of them. But if you know my channel, you know that my favorite movie franchise is the Harry Potter movies, of course. And my favorite Harry Potter movie and my number 13 is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is probably a lot of people's favorite Harry Potter movie. That or Deathly Hallows Part 2. And honestly, Deathly Hallows Part 2 might be my least favorite, if I'm going to be completely honest. I see that as a very flawed film, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do love Prisoner of Azkaban. This is this is like really close to being a masterpiece, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, all these movies are flawed. Even this one does have some flawed moments, but if any of them are close to being a masterpiece, it would be Prisoner of Azkaban. Um, Probably because it was directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and yeah, he directed the hell out of this film. He did a great job directing it. I wish he did all of the films, to be honest, but or at least the rest of them. Hell, I would probably like Deathly Hallows Part 2 better if he directed that one. But but yeah, he did a great job with this film. I love Prisoner of Azkaban. I love the story in it. Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. As you can tell, I have a Sirius Black poster behind me. Um, he's great, and I love also the time traveling aspect to it. So cool. Yeah, I love Prisoner of Azkaban. My favorite Harry Potter movie, and it is my number 13. Okay, number 12. Number 12 is Trainspotting. Yeah, Trainspotting. Really weird, but just such a cool film. It's about drug addiction, particularly heroin. And Hugh McGregor, such a great performance. Also love Kelly MacDonald as well. And everyone else is great. I love Begbie. He is a hilarious character. He's such a psychopath, but he's hilarious. Yeah, I love Trainspotting. It's weird. It's funny. Yeah, a movie about heroin addiction is hilarious. To be honest, this one is at least. Not Requiem for a Dream, which I do love that movie. It didn't make it on the list because I've only seen it once and I need to get it. But But that's, of course, a more serious film about drug addiction. This one is a comedy, and it is actually really funny. And yeah, I love it. I love the soundtrack too. Um, and I love the scene with Lou Reed's Perfect Day playing. That whole scene, well, okay, that's kind of a spoiler if I say what happens in the scene, so never mind. But I love that scene though. And yeah, this is just a great film, Trainspotting. Yeah, that is number 12. Number 12. Okay, number 10. Or no, number 11. Sorry. Number 11, I've talked about this movie a lot on this channel. I'm actually surprised it didn't make it in the top 10, but it's very close. Number 10 is one of my favorite comedies of all time and my favorite Coen Brothers movie. That is The Big Lebowski. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about this movie that I haven't said already? I mean, all the performances are great. Jeff Bridges as the dude, Steve Buscemi as Donnie, John Turturro as Jesus, Julia Moore as Maud, even the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman as Brant, and of course John Goodman as Walter Subject. One of my all-time favorite movie characters, if I'm gonna be honest. Over the line. But yeah, I love The Big Lebowski. One of the funniest movies I've ever seen. My favorite Coen Brothers film. And if you don't like it, then that's just like your opinion, man. I always say that every single time I talk about this movie. I always have to say that. But anyways, Big Lebowski is number 11. Okay, number 10. We're finally in the top 10. We're getting closer to the 40-minute mark. If you've made it this far, I thank you very much for continuing watching. Yeah. Um, Number 10 is my favorite Stanley Kubrick film, and it is A Clockwork Orange. Holy shit, this movie is amazing. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, and I kind of get it. I mean, it is a controversial film, mostly just because of the protagonist. Is a rapist murderer, but still, I don't I don't really care, honestly. I mean, he's a great character anyways. He's a great written character, and Malcolm McDowell, amazing performance as the protagonist, Alex DeLarge, so good. And if you have a DVD or Blu-ray of this film, um, and if it has the commentary with Malcolm McDowell on it, listen to it. It is awesome. Like he is just listening to him talk about his experience, you know, while filming this movie, it's just so good. But yeah, I love A Clockwork Orange. It is my number 10. All right, number 9. Number 9 is my favorite Best Picture winner, and that is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, Milos Forman did a great job with this film. Jack Nicholson, of course, as Randall P. McMurphy, such a great performance, and also Louise Fletcher, I think is her name, as Nurse Ratched, one of the greatest villains ever. I love her, and also you also have Christopher Lloyd and Dane DeVito in this film, uh, whenever they were a lot younger. But yeah, I love this movie. It's also really funny, surprisingly. Kind of like Trainspotting. The subject matter is serious, but it's about, of course, a mental institution. But it's funny, man. This movie is actually really funny. It's also great drama, and I think I honestly think that it has my favorite movie ending of all time. I love the ending to this film. It's so good. Yeah, this whole film is so good. Yeah, no, my number 9 is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Okay, all right, number 8. I'm actually surprised I didn't have any other films from the certain director because this is this is from my favorite director of all time. I've noticed that a lot of these movies, the ones that I have like more that like have more than one from another from one director, they're all it's just like two films from each director. But I don't know. I don't know why that is. But anyways, yeah, I'm surprised I didn't have any others. But this is from my favorite director. My favorite director is David Lynch. Just in case you didn't know that. And this is my second favorite David Lynch film. That is Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive. I should mention I did review this movie. Check it out if you haven't already. Such a great film. I think it's bullshit that Naomi Watts wasn't even nominated for Best Actress. Like, what the fuck? But at least David Lynch got an Oscar nomination for Best Director. But yeah, I do think she should have got that nomination. I don't know what the hell Oscars were thinking. I have no idea. And it probably she even got a nomination for Best Picture, to be honest, because not my favorite movie of that year. We'll get to that in a little bit, but of 2001 that is. But Mulholland Drive though, it might be the best movie of that year, despite it not being my favorite. But I still love it. Yeah, Mulholland Drive, my second favorite David Lynch film, and it is number 8. Number 8. Okay, number 7. Number 7. This one will probably be on a lot of people's top favorite movies of all time, and for good reason. It's a great film. This is my second favorite Quentin Tarantino film. Probably a lot of people's favorite, but my my number 7 is Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about Pulp Fiction that hasn't been said already? I mean, all the performances are great. John Travolta, Sam Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Ving Rhames, Eric Stoltz, Christopher Walken, Bruce Willis. Yeah, such a great film. I mean, yeah, I love all three stories. My favorite story. Sorry, I'm getting tired. My favorite story in this film is actually the third story. The final one, the Bonnie situation. That one makes me laugh every time. Yeah, this movie's great. It's hilarious too. Pulp Fiction that is number 7. Okay, number 6. Number 6, the only Spike Lee joint I have in my collection. I am currently working on a Spike Lee ranking, but my number 6 is Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing is amazing. I remember ever since I first seen it, I fell in love with it, and again has great performances by Spike Lee himself as Mookie, Giancarlo Espedito or whatever his name is, as Bugging Out. I know I butchered his name. That dude Danny something, I can never pronounce his last name, but he's great as Sal, and Rosie Perez and John Turturro. Yeah, this is a great film. I love Do the Right Thing. Also love the intro, the opening credit scene with Rosie Perez dancing and Fight the Power by Public Enemies playing. I love that, and yeah, this whole film is great. The climax at the end, I mean, definitely the best scene, best part of the film. But yeah, it's also hilarious. It's actually a really funny movie too. But yeah, Do the Right Thing is number 6. We're finally in the top 5. Finally, we're almost at the 40-minute mark. But yeah. Anyways, not my number 5. My number 5 is a movie that was actually inspired by Do the Right Thing. What can I say about this movie that I haven't said before? My favorite Kevin Smith film, Clerks. I love Clerks. Dante and Randall, one of my favorite, friendships and films, and of course Jay and Silent Bob as well. This was their first movie. Of course. I love Clerks. I love the black and white cinematography. It looks really great. Well, it actually does look pretty good, actually. I mean, it was very cheap cameras, but I do like how it looks though. But yeah, I love Clerks. I'm looking forward for Clerks 3. That should be coming out this year, hopefully. But yeah, I love Clerks, and it is number 5. Okay, number 4. Number 4. The only Wes Anderson film I have in my all-time favorites list, and my of course my favorite Wes Anderson film. Spoilers for the Wes Anderson ranking that I should be doing sometime. I don't know when yet. I gotta track down Darjeeling Limited because it's not streaming anywhere, and I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, but yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have any other Wes Anderson films. I love, some of his others too. I love, of course, Life. I love Life Aquatic, and Rushmore, and Bottle Rocket. But unfortunately, those didn't make the list. But this one did. However, my number 4 is the Royal Tenenbaums. Yeah, and this was the one I was talking about. My favorite non-family movie, which yeah, like I said, means not a movie for families, not a movie you should watch with your family, but it's a movie about family, about a family. But yeah, I love this movie. Everybody in this is great. Danny Glover, Gene Hackman, Angelica Houston, Bill Murray, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, and Owen Wilson. All great in this film. I love all the characters too. My favorite, I think, is actually Richie, played by Luke Wilson, and I love, of course, Royal Tenenbaum, played by Gene Hackman. Yeah, I love this movie, Royal Tenenbaums. It's hilarious and it's weird, and I just love it. I did review it too a long time ago. I reviewed it. But yeah, Royal Tenenbaums is my number 4. Top 3, about fucking time. Okay, top 3. Here we go. Number 3, my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. That is Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. Uh, Again, another great all-star cast: Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Tierney, Michael Madsen, all great in this. Even Tarantino himself is in this, and Eddie Bunker, and also what's his name, Stephen Wright as the K Billy Super Sound of the '70s DJ. Yeah. Um, I love the soundtrack to this film too. I love the soundtrack, and this is a great film. This even has, at least in my opinion, the best opening scene to any film. I love the opening diner scene, and even the opening credit scene is awesome too, with Little Green Bag playing. Yeah, it's so good. I love Reservoir Dogs. I love the dialogue in this film. So good. I love Reservoir Dogs, and it is my number 3, my third favorite film of all time. My second favorite film of all time. My number 2 is Taxi Driver. Yes. Favorite Martin Scorsese film, and I think it's the only Scorsese. Yeah, it is the only Scorsese film I have on the list. Surprisingly, but yeah, I love Taxi Driver. Robert De Niro, of course, as Travis Bickle is amazing, along with, of course, Jodie Foster, Sybil Shepherd, Albert Brooks, Harvey Keitel, and what's his name, Peter Boyle, all great as well. Just such a great film. Travis Bickle's one of my favorite movie characters of all time, and yeah, Taxi Driver is my number 2. All right, and my number 1 favorite movie of all time. If you know my channel, you should know what it is, but if not, then this might come as a surprise. This is my favorite David Lynch film. David Lynch, like I said, is my favorite director of all time. Um, my favorite, my favorite movie, my number 1 favorite movie of all time is Eraserhead. I know it's a weird choice. Those of y'all who aren't familiar with my channel and stuff, it's a weird choice. I know. I I fell in love with this movie right away. Very first time I watched it, I just thought it was a masterpiece. I thought it was the greatest movie I've ever seen. I mean, it isn't the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it is, of course, my personal favorite. Like, ever since then, I just haven't seen a movie that I liked better than this. I just love it. Is it a very weird and bizarre and kind of somewhat fucked up film? I mean, yeah, but who gives a shit? I fucking love Eraserhead. I know there's some people that don't like it because they say it's too weird for them. Well, you're just a bunch of pussies then. No, I'm kidding. Um, no, um, I mean, if you don't like it, then that's fine. I kind of get it, because it is very much out there, but I love it anyways. I love the black and white cinematography, and of course, Jack Nance as Henry, amazing. Yeah, I love Eraserhead, my favorite movie of all time. None of these other movies, which of course I love also, none of them I love better than Eraserhead. Eraserhead, my number one favorite movie of all time. All right, there we go. I am exhausted. So there is my top 30 favorite movies of all time. So this was actually longer than I thought it would be, but oh well. So if you made it this far, I thank you very much. In the comments, give me your favorite, either top 30 or top 20 or top 10 or whatever, favorite movies of all time. And also, what do you think about my list? Yeah. All right. So please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell. And my next video will be my top 20 favorite songs by the Rolling Stones. That will be this coming Thursday. And then next Monday will be a movie review. I don't know what yet. I'll have to put up a poll on my Instagram to I'll let my followers choose which one it will be. It will actually, I'm thinking it will actually be a movie that I have seen before, so it'll be a rewatch movie. But I'm going back to those, going back to my rewatch reviews. But yeah, but anyways, I'll see you this coming Thursday, and if not, then I'll see it. If you don't want to watch my Rolling Stones video, then I'll see you Monday. Okay, peace.